I'll call the regular meeting of the Anderson County Commissioners Court to order on June the 12th, 2023 at 9:32 a.m. Show that we do have a quorum present. At present, Commissioner Mims is not in the room. If everyone would, we'll do the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So if y'all stand and go to the Lord in prayer with you. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day, for the opportunity to come together as a body, Lord, and make decisions that affect so many in Anderson County. We ask you, Lord, to guide and direct our decisions, that they be according to your will and in the best interests of everybody here. We ask you, Lord, to be with our men and women in military service and protect us at home and abroad. Keep them safe, Lord, meet their needs. Ask you, Lord, to be with our first responders, our law enforcement, and all those that protect us here at home. We ask you, Lord, to go with us through this day and bless our lives to thy service. These things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Y'all join me in the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just kind of a reminder, everybody might check their cell phones, make sure that their cell phones are silent. Do we have anybody signed up in open forum, Mr. Staples? Okay. All right, next we'll move to item number 4, the consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be self-explanatory, will be enacted with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. However, any consent agenda item may be removed for individual consideration pursuant to a request by a member of the Commissioners Court. We have budget amendments. Budget amendments number 55 through 61. And we have minutes from May the 8th, 2023 and May the 22nd, 2023. And also we consider approving the bills. Do we have any utilities crossing county roads?
I have none.
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. And we need to sign the rest of the signing on the minutes. I didn't know everybody got to see those. All right, item number 5, hear presentation from K.E. Andrews Consultants with Trinity Gas Storage related to an economic development project. Consider negotiating through Allison Bass and McGee for any tax abatement requests. And I think we've got Cameron Morgan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if you'll state your name for the record and who you represent.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Judge McKinney. My name is Cameron Morgan. I work for a company called K.E. Andrews. We're the tax consultant for Trinity Gas Storage, and this is
Chad Wigington, or K.E. Andrews as well, representing Trinity Gas.
Okay.
And we're gonna, if you don't mind, can we pass these out to you just so we can look at them?
Sure. I figured you'd have a handout with you.
Yes, sir. Helps go along a little bit better.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, Lou.
So this project, Trinity Gas Storage, is a underground storage for gas, and it's going to be on a depleted reservoir. And so what they're doing is they're coming in and they're going to be doing some well completions and revitalizing, putting a compressor station there. This particular reservoir, it sits by the Pinnacle Gas plant over there and in between Atmos. And it's about...
That's in Bethel, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this is about a mile south of Cayuga High School. And it's about 3.25 miles from the county and about 19 miles northwest of Palestine. This project is going to bring about 4 permanent jobs, and it'll have about 80 construction jobs during this time period. The entire zone you'll see on page 2. This is a reinvestment zone. It looks pretty big, but really what it is, it's going to be a 24-acre plot where the compressor station is going to sit, and there's going to be about 5 proposed wells at this time that they're going to inject in, and those proposed wells are about 5 acres. So it's really not taking up this whole reinvestment zone, but we have to make it pretty large just because it has to be a continuous zone to have an abatement in. So what we're here to do is we're kind of here to explain a little bit of things about this project in the hopes that we can look forward to, coming into an agreement with you guys with an abatement. But if we want to go into the actual figures of the investment, this total project is actually going to be $155 million in investment. Well, only about 80 million of this, as you can see that is highlighted, is going to be abatable. The other amount is going to be engineering costs, civil work, the pipelines that are coming in, the interconnects. That's the other cost. Now, Trinity Gas, they're thinking about bringing this equipment in at Q4 of this year, and then the completion or the operation will be Q2 of next year. Now, when they're looking at this, they started seeing a lot of supply chain costs go up, and so having an abatement would really help secure future investments and a potential for an expansion with this project, and additional capital be spent. So given that, just little facts about this project so we can all be understanding is this project is it's going to be about 1,000 feet from any residential. There is a safety plan in place with HAZWOPER, which is the Hazardous Waste and Operations and Emergency Response. They're going to have local emergency training as well as employees to help with the response agencies. The access road for this project is going to be off of 287, and it'll be using FM 2706. So the only heavy trucks that are coming in will be on FM 2706 to go to the compressor station. The other well sites, it's not going to be that many trucks. They're going to access those well pads off of 287. And just so you know, the construction jobs that are coming, about 80 of those 80 construction jobs, they're going to be mixing them with local jobs as much as they can, and then outside jobs. Now they're going to be here, staying in Palestine as much, using the hotels and all that kind of stuff. And there's going to be a couple of members of the engineering group that are going to be on site that's going to be living there. But mainly, they're going to try to utilize as many local jobs as possible with construction jobs. Now, if there's any questions, that's what we're here to answer. Hope bring some light to this. Chad here, he knows a good amount of this project too, so hopefully we can answer as many questions as possible.
Yeah, I think one thing that's important to mention is if there is any damage to the roads, they're willing to work with the county department to repair those issues. So,
But I don't think we have any, it's not really gonna touch any county roads.
it's
It's all gonna be state maintained roads.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
2706 and 287.
So if there's any issues, I know they're willing to discuss that with whoever they need to, and it's only going to come down about a mile right off of 287.
Show Commissioner Mills.
He got one, he's got one. But how far from the school is the storage?
It's about a mile south.
The compressor station is probably the closest thing to the school. And that compressor station is the most north part, closest to the high school. The well sites will sit south of the compressor station. And the compressor station, if you're looking at Pinnacle Gas, it's very close to it, to that facility.
Yeah, it's before Old Bethel. It's before the Old Bethel, so it's before the full Bethel plant.
Yes.
It's on the side, closer to the school.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I'd already talked to Bob Bass preliminary, when I was talking to him on another project. And I think Mike Fry was with you. We had Chris Trahan at PEDC facilitated a meeting, an initial meeting, and so we could get them on the agenda and start a process. But I talked to Bob about, just like he did with Skull Creek and the Natus solar farms, to see if the court chose to use them, that we Mike, I think, was already familiar with Allison Bass and McGee, so
Yes.
he had worked
Yes,
with them
Judge.
before. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, once before, this property here, about maybe 10 plus, another company was trying to do the same thing, and I don't think they finished up the process and everything on it.
And I think that's
So-
one of the main reasons over here, right? To,
Yes.
with inflation and costs going up, supply chain issues, it's making it more difficult and less economical to build this type of project. So that's why we're, hoping for some type of relief just to get it going and hopefully get some customers. Long-term, hopefully, they want to be a member of the, community. They want to contribute where they can. If there's an opportunity to hire individuals locally, then that's what they're going to do. If they can expand in the future, they would want to expand here. So they're trying to put their eggs in this one basket. It's going to be their, I guess, really their only asset. So they're going to be hyper-focused on it.
Yes.
And you already own the property, at least some of it, correct?
That was one question that I'm still waiting to hear back
Okay.
on, what pieces they own, which are they're gonna be leasing,
Okay.
Judge.
And there may be more than one project, one to begin with. So,
Yeah.
Yes, sir,
Correct.
there's gonna be maybe another project east, but that's kind of in the future. They're
Understood.
hoping,
There's an
Judge,
adjacent
goes
well
well.
that they could
Yes,
could
it's a
access.
slant.
Yep.
You'd have to get with the landowners to go under
Yes, sir.
in that way. So we had approved that, full project for the other company. I actually think we had done abatements and everything. I think their money just went belly up.
Yeah.
And, I think when Dr. Webb was superintendent of KUGA, he was all for it and everybody else. And the court came together and we had got it approved, done, and it was a big thing. It was gonna bring a big tax base in for the school district, and it was just I think it was gonna bring about 5 jobs. But those were people who had to move in, engineers that was gonna stay on the plant and stuff. You'd have some groundkeepers, but it would have been a good asset to the community.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Commissioner.
and I did contact Dr. Satterwhite. I think Dr. Webb's here.
Yes, they're both here.
Okay, good, I didn't see superintendent. So, any questions? Well, I'll entertain a motion to, let's see. Yeah, I'd entertain a motion to,
Go into
engage Allison Bass and Associate, and McGee. I keep leaving McGee out there, we don't need to leave Eric out. For tax abatement request by, Trinity Gas Storage. Do I have a motion?
I'll put in for a motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. We'll get the ball rolling.
All right.
Good luck, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cameron, are you gonna get Mike to contact Bob Bass?
I do have Bob Bass.
I'll get in touch with him,
Yes, sir.
and, and I've got your business card. So, yeah, no, that's fine. Thank y'all for being here today.
Thank you.
You got a copy of their presentation? Okay, all right, okay. Item number 6 is consider to take action on designating a portion of the opioid funds for Anderson County Courthouse repairs and maintenance and approve budget amendment number 65. And I've got a little quick presentation on that. You get the light for me, Mark? One of the things that, we've got some other projects that I've kind of delayed on because of funds, and when I took office, there was a lot of repairs that we've had to do to multiple buildings, and so we've handled a lot of that out of just our regular maintenance budget, okay? So here's some of the bills. These bills have already been paid. Of course, I had to put Sprite bottles up there. Everybody knows our incident when somebody flushed Sprite bottles and stopped up the plumbing in the courthouse. So that cost us $44.51. we've done 2 different plumbing projects at the Agri Life building. That was 5897. We striped the parking lot, which was, that's a big parking lot. Actually, there's 3 parking areas over there at the Agri Life building. So we've restriped all that. Of course, the courthouse and the veterans office were both leaking, so we did a patch job on both of those to try to at least stop any more damage. That was trying to make an effort till we could get a roof on the courthouse. And we currently, with the, we just put a new roof on the veterans office, so that's done. But that wasn't out of this maintenance budget, so we did that out of the opioid. We had to replace chillers on the air conditioner, at least one chiller on the air conditioner at the annex. We fixed a jail roof leak on the roof there, and we striped the parking lots and did designated parking over at the courthouse. So, Megan, I was trying to remember on that budget amendment, it was 26,000, right?
I did it for 25. I thought that's what.
25, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, I couldn't remember, and I did this over the weekend at home, so I was trying to go from memory. So instead of 26,000, I'm requesting that we take and designate 25,000 in opioid, in the opioid fund to help. We can do a journal entry if y'all approve this for 25,000 on that budget amendment. We can do a journal entry and move some of these expenses over there to give me some more money to get through the year. I've got a little bit left, but it's going to be tough trying to make the rest of the year if something happens. And we've got even some things on the agenda today that are going to be probably requested that we need funding for. So I just want to give everybody a breakdown there. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve designating 25,000 in opioid funds for Anderson County Courthouse repairs and maintenance and approve budget amendment number 65. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Thank you. All right, hear from Judge McKinney and consider and take action on creating a budget to protect and encumber Anderson County Rescue Plan Act funds or ARPA funds. One of the things, let's see. Did you want to speak to that before I present the kind of, as far as what you got in an email or something?
I've gotten several correspondence and email of it's a possibility that any ARPA money that we do not encumber, they could vote any day for it to be sent back to the federal government. So I
we
just
don't,
wanted to-
there's not we don't know what day. They could
No,
call tomorrow.
there's just been talks about it. I've seen many emails on it, so I just wanted the court to be aware of that.
Right.
At first, it was kind of like, it wasn't that drastic, but they did call back some funds as of June 1st.
Yes.
So if they set a date, if you'll go ahead and turn. And so to protect those funds and to encumber those funds on existing projects, then this is kind of what I put together. And I just feel like if we encumber them, then if somebody calls and says, hey, we want you to send the funds back that you had spent, or that at least you hadn't got dedicated to a project. So I put this together. It's not set in stone. It can be flexible. It can change. There's a couple of things in here that need to, I believe, and some of them are on the agenda today to approve. So I felt like we need to talk about the funds first. So I want to ask a couple of them that be allocated for existing things that are going on. So, all right. So this is the first one. We got a lot of damage to our courthouse. The third floor between that roof and the third floor ceilings, we've still got to do some testing and check to see how much damage and what we're going to have to replace on ceilings on the third floor of the courthouse. But we're going to have to replace the roof. Architects are here to talk about that today. And then there's major repairs to the ceilings on the third floor. Now we're 2 courtrooms down. They may use it for some hearings, but as far as a jury trial, Judge Duran's using other courtrooms right now, so he just lost his. We got, of course, the PowerPoint that I showed you earlier in the year, it had the broken panes. I think DRG's found a couple of vendors that actually do stained glass and some prospective vendors to fix that, the broken panes in the rotunda stained glass. And then there's evidently we got moisture damage in at least three of the four corners of the basement on the walls. County Clerk's office, DA's office, JP's offices. So there's been an issue with that for some time, because even when I was JP, down there with Judge Todd, they had to tear out his wall and put a moisture barrier in and then repair his wall. So not sure exactly. Of course, water moves, so we're not sure what the expenditures are there. But the main thing is getting a roof on. So those are existing projects. I felt like we could just encumber $2 million. Hopefully, that's not going to be what it costs us to get this thing fixed. But not knowing what it's going to cost, that way we've got that encumbered. $1.2 million on the Civic Center remodel. We talked about earlier in one court session about maybe thinking about, or at least I suggested that the court at least think about maybe combining two ideas and make some meeting rooms where we could have large meetings or training. At the same time, we could move our elections out there, have storage for secured storage, which is video monitored, and make sure that our election staff has a place to do early voting, all of it in one place, so they don't have to keep pulling that stuff out of the jail cells and moving it back and forth. That way they could leave it out on the tables like they got right now, or just recently in this last election, where they got to either train election judges and they've got to come in and maintain their machines. And then, of course, if we move the AgriLife building out there, and that's just a thought process, I think early on that might have been what the court was thinking when they bought the Civic Centers, move the AgriLife building out there. And then, of course, the repairs to the AgriLife building are coming up next. But $1.4 million in road construction, encumbered $350,000 per each of the four precincts. Evenly distributed. $500,000 on the AgriLife building to try to fix the elevator. Look at ADA compliance, fire and life safety. If a fire were to start in that stairwell, we got to think about how's anybody going to get out if you got 30 or 40 people down there in a training session. So we may have to look at some of those issues. Okay? And then if we got some of at least the elevator repaired, we may are able to do something to accommodate them at the Civic Center. We might decide to sell that building or use it for other purposes. So anyway, just some options there. But encumber $500,000 on that. And the elevator's only agenda. $500,000 to the county clerk, and I've had discussions with IT and the county clerk, district clerk, and I think Judge Davis is here, so he's been talking to the clerks about trying to go paperless. Of course, that's going to entail some programs and some investigation, maybe going and visiting some other clerks' offices in other counties that are either doing that or in the process of doing that, see how that's working. So something to consider, but also to try to get an updated, more updated current recording system for our minutes and the minute preparation. Of course, I've talked to Mark about some of that. And then upgrade our security cameras in the courthouse. The balance is $96,000, after all that, $96,383. The constable's here to try to fund their radios for going digital. That's on the agenda. That $24,000 would pay for their 4 car radios and 4 handheld radios that we've already got a quote for. 35,000. We've got, of course, the IT staff came and made a presentation back a month and a half or so ago to the court, and one is trying to upgrade with new programs in IT. The other is trying to maintain what we have and make sure we're updating the computers, make sure we're deploying new hardware into the offices as some of it needs to be replaced. So time on task to try to get everything done. We need to add another IT staff person, at least one. So that 35,000 would actually, and those two items, the 24,000 and the 35,000, I'm asking for the court to go ahead and approve, if they approve these agenda items today, to take it from those two sources. So that, in what we were thinking in figuring the salary, it would be 46,000 and plus all the FICA to go with it, and beginning July 1st. So that's a little bit later on the agenda. And then the balance of it, 37,383, capital outlay. It may be that we need more communication equipment for emergency management, some of our fire departments, or road and bridge. So that gives us some opportunities there. If Sheriff's Department deploys digital radios and gets that all in place, and that just gives us some options there. If other people need communication equipment, or somebody else needs something, overheads or something out of capital outlay from any of the departments. So that's kind of the breakdown. So $2 million for the courthouse, $1.2 million for the Civic Center remodel, $1.4 million in road construction, $500,000 for the AgriLife building and extension offices, and $500,000 for the district, county clerk, and district court and county court to try to go paperless. And then that $96,383 broken down. So this is what we currently have as a balance. So I'm asking the court to encumber those funds this way. That doesn't mean we have to spend all of it just exactly like this is. I would ask that we could go ahead and do the radios and the IT person for the rest of the year. Any questions or comments? Or I'd say in the police academy they used to say questions, comments, or criticisms, but I'm not asking for any criticism right now. That's supposed to be funny, y'all.
On the IT person, is that, on the IT person, you just need them from July till December 31st?
Yes, sir.
And then that position will
And
go
then
away?
we would fund that position.
You would
during
have
the
to fund
budget
it.
process.
Oh, yeah.
It would continuously fund, so I think we need to have a workshop on it personally, and I know it's something Judge McKinney probably worked on over the weekend, but I'd like to spend some more time just going through it and just detailing it out a little bit more.
Okay. All right, do you want to put it on the next agenda or what?
That would be fine.
Can
If
we-
they're all comfortable with it, I mean, I just think that
The main thing, I want to encumber it. We could always change it.
Can we meet, call a special meeting and have like a workshop
Yeah, we
meeting
can
on
have
it?
we can have a
workshop.
workshop.
Let's have a workshop.
We got 2 weeks and we can have a workshop and we can spend more time and y'all can maybe even bring some ideas to the table and we can
Okay,
plan it
I'm
out a
fine
little
with
bit better.
that.
Because all we need is 72-hour notice, and we can do a workshop, and I think that, I know we had discussed the IT department, a month and a half ago, as you stated, and that if we went to our own, I know that those guys can't fully maintain everything we need. We're gonna have to find something to do something, so I just think that we should all come together, sit down, talk, see what we need to do, and find the best approach to get there.
Do y'all want to do something to encumber them, or you want to wait?
I'd like to wait.
I'd like to wait myself.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. so we'll pass on item number 7. And item number 8 is consider to take action on approving the professional services fee proposal from DRG Architects for architect services on the Anderson County Historical Courthouse related to major repairs and construction. Wayne, if y'all will state your name, who you represent for the clerk, please.
Judge, Commissioners, my name is Wayne Gondek. I'm the principal with DRG Architects out of San Antonio. And have Gary Adams here with me that was here last time representing the firm. I appreciate y'all's action last time selecting DRG Architects, for the courthouse repairs project that does have several items in that. As y'all are aware, that's a two-step process, and the judge, do they have the proposed?
Yes, sir. I think everybody's got that. It looks like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't have that?
I got
If you don't, I have
Yes, sir.
copies here if you need them.
I've got it.
We're fine, thank you,
Got it.
sir.
Senator,
Now, that was the document you sent?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right.
It's a two-page document there. This is Steve Shad with a Garland Company is standing over my right shoulder here. We're going to get to that in a second, but I wanted to get through our fee proposal first. We've looked through, the several items on the courthouse issues here, and of course, what we've looked at is that the courthouse roof is of utmost necessity and importance in taking care of that first before we move on to anything else. We've looked at what the damage is. We've seen that the plaster falling off the ceilings in the courtrooms on the 3rd floor, and have seen the other moisture damage up there in the rotunda area. And it is our recommendation that we need, whatever we do, we need to expedite that re-roofing project or portion of the project before anything else that we do. So what we have proposed is to go forth with the re-roofing project as a fixed fee and a lump sum proposal within our fee structure, and to look at the remainder of those items that we need to address on the courthouse as far as any additional moisture issues on the plaster, the repair of the stained glass rotunda window, the basement moisture issues, to do that on at least initially on a percentage fee based process. And then as we identify the full scope of those, is that we take that percentage fee and calculate that out to a fixed fee basis as we identify those. The reason I say that is that once we set that scope on the project and we calculate out that fixed fee, we know these prices are going up as time goes on. And we cannot, as your architect, say that, okay, just based on inflation, that we want to keep that price going up and up and up as far as our fee. Once we establish that scope and we say, this is what we've agreed to as our fee, we want that to be it. And that way, when we make a recommendation on utilizing a contract or a price for a project, that you're realizing that we're looking at that price and not our fee. So we want to make sure that on each of these components that we establish what our fee is based on that percentage that we've proposed here, and then we move on. And you don't have to worry about, is the architect trying to do something with this fee here or not? We want to make sure that that's transparent, that you know what that amount is going to be, and we move on. We have another element here within the roofing that we have proposed to expedite this under the local government code under the cooperative purchasing partnership, and that's why Stevenson here next to me, is that we are trying to develop or utilize the cooperative purchasing, which y'all do for other items that y'all purchase. We're trying to extend that to roofing and waterproofing through local government code 271-102, and to have the actual manufacturer of the roofing materials come in and be a cooperative participant in this, and in developing the roofing materials, the replacement system, and assist in the procurement of the actual installation of roofers and the installers on that through the cooperative framework structure there.
Let me give them Misty was doing some research, and this cooperative purchasing agreement that Wayne had sent me an email on, actually, Misty investigated in the auditor's office and found that we already have a cooperative purchasing agreement with that entity already in place. Stan Chambers did it back in around 2009, 2010. So we didn't have to put anything on the agenda. She's confirmed that we still have, because it's automatically renewing, we still have that in place. And the vendor with the materials that Wayne's talking about, Steve Shedd, is already a member of that co-op. So what we're trying to do is expedite the route. But I just wanted to make sure they understood.
Yes, sir. And I may be covering a lot of ground in a short period of time on this, and I'm trying to be brief. As we move through this, if there are additional questions, please bring this up, or bring them up. The cooperative partnership that we're talking about is with Omnia Partnership, and that is the name. The name of the company that we're trying to work with is the Garland Company. They are a top-line roofing materials manufacturer. And that's why we're trying to work with them to utilize that product. It has already been vetted, solicited, vetted through this cooperative process. So there is a pricing standard on that as far as to make sure that the pricing is competitive that counties are getting, or public entities, counties, municipalities.
Yeah, that's what this will protect. When will you give us your diagnosis of where you see we need to spend our money on the courthouse? Is it the entire, roof? Is it, I'd like to be able to see what the.
We have looked at it, and yes, go ahead, hand those up. What we have looked at it is on the roof, and there's still some additional investigative work that can be done and will be done in this process. But the roof that you have in place right now. Sorry, I need to price. Considering that the longevity of this building and that you're here forever in this building, our recommendation is not to go back and do this. You already have some moisture issues in the substrate. We really need to get down to the actual substrate, come back and with a new product, go down and start from that base, concrete substrate, and go forward, making sure that it is dried out, and go forward on that.
So take it to the deck.
Take it to the deck and start over with a system that is fully warranted. Our recommendation is to go with either a 30 or 40-year warranted system. roofing.
The master agreement, so they went out and they solicited roofing manufacturers like ourselves.
Right.
We were the contract winner of that, so that fulfills your manufacturing requirement to bid out the roofing materials, because you can piggyback off of that contract. And Misty, I know you're really familiar with.
I'm actually Megan.
Oh, you're Megan.
That's Megan.
Misty's in my office.
Misty's, okay, so, I know that you talked to Sam, Misty did.
Yes.
So you'll piggyback that off, but then we'll go ahead and we'll solicit out to, contractors to get the best labor numbers. So you'll have solicited material piece, which is done, and you'll have solicited the labor number fulfilling all requirements, that the county has.
But the
So that's
material that we're looking at using is gonna put us in the spot where we're not gonna be able to use local, any kind of local, labor here, because they're gonna have to have specialized training to be able to apply this material. So basically, it's just gonna be outsourced, more or less, right?
No, so what we do is, if you have, local contractors that you prefer to use, that you've used in the past, we bring them in. Now, obviously, their work has to, meet a certain standard, but, they do not have to have done work with us in the past. So if
But
you-
do they have to have training on this type of material?
They need to have a record of, hey, we've done work like this. which
That's
is
what I'm
most
saying,
local.
that's gonna eliminate the 99% of them, because I'm sure they have.
But what they don't have to have is, they don't have to have specific, they have to have.
Yes, I understand.
Low slope, but they don't have to have specific garment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Yes,
if
sir.
they've done low slope roofing, which is what we call commercial
So
roofing.
basically, you're the engineer, you're gonna oversee it, you're gonna make sure that they're meeting the requirements that's needed to put the proper roof on here to give us that 30-year or that 40-year.
I'm on the manufacturing side,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
so they're gonna have their specification, with DRG, obviously, fully involved, and making sure that that's warranted out that way. But as long as, if you have commercial roofers in Palestine, in the county management, and you would like them to come to the bid, so that's not a problem. I'm not gonna guarantee they win, obviously, but.
No, I understand that.
but, yeah, that's absolutely right.
I just know if there's enough fair chase in there for them to even throw their hat in, race with it, or if it was just kind of because of, the material design, the way it is, that it pretty much is gonna require somebody that's had experience with that material, how.
As long as they're a low slope, now obviously we're in charge of, at the end of the day, we have to make sure we're responsible for the long-term safety of that building, so, they have to meet those.
But I still would like a report on that, the footage, the amount of what it is and what's coming out, and still have the opportunity to look at that, on your side of it, to be able to see, just what we're up against, as far as a whole, if we're doing the whole roof, and kind of see what the problems is with that, maybe go take a look at it with you.
Yes, sir. And we still need to provide, that assessment, to the court. Like I said, we're covering a lot of ground.
Yes, sir. And a lot of the damages that's on the inside with the plasters and all, that's pretty much well caused by the moisture that's coming from the roof.
Correct.
So it's
And
not
what,
gonna repair, other than stop it, it's not gonna repair it, I understand that, but that would eliminate the continuous.
and one of the things that we want to kind of do in this process is to do a baseline assessment and bring in with the initial roofing process, is to do some baseline testing. A moisture testing of the plaster and the substrate, and make sure we get from the underside, make sure that we get that moisture testing. So as we put the new roof on, that we can see how does that affect, and make sure that we have covered all those areas where we're getting that moisture penetration. Before we go in and start trying to repair and everything else, we have to make sure that we seal that entire roof area, because we have some intricate areas of the dome, the drum, and then the base of the drum there, before we get down to the roof, that there's several layers of where we have to go. We have a parapet area where there's some existing applied screwed on metal panels that we want to take off and put a whole roofing system on that. Not to get into the standing seam at the pediments there at the four peaks there on the backside of those. With that's good roofing. But there's some applied roof panels, or wall panels actually, that are screwed on there that are just problematic for the long term.
That's right.
That need to come off.
Well, we're looking at the potentials of a 30 or 40-year plan on, I'm sure that we're running on more than that now on about a 10-year plan, you know, that was originally put up there. This has been that way even, you know, probably, I wouldn't be surprised, say 40 years, 50 years, that it's not had, you know, a repair job that it needs, so.
Well, actually, I walked into this in '99 when I took office, because we were flooding. The commissioners had 2 precincts where we had to do emergency budget amendments, because they had roads flooded out. We were up on top of I'll just tell you the story. First 2 weeks of office, I was up there with Charles, sweeping pigeon poop and gravel away from the drains, because we had water standing on that roof, and it was leaking in about 7 places. So the court put a roof on that in '99, and then it was re-roofed again either during, I want to say that it was re-roofed somewhere around 2009 or 2010. That may be why Stan got this cooperative purchasing agreement done. But there was another roof put on it, because it's not the same roof that we put on in '99, because they didn't replace what's on the top of the rotunda when they re-roofed it in 2010.
Did they re-roof it completely, or did they just cover that up?
Well,
I don't remember. I know it was during, cause Doug Lowe was still the DA, because, I went on the roof, with him up there and looked at it.
They re-roofed it because we put on a urethane roof and sealed everything. And,
Cause it was leaking in
and
the
then,
DA's office.
and now it's a modified bitumen roof.
Yes.
And so it's been re-roofed since I left office in '6. And the thing is when you walk out of the rotunda, you've got walls that go up, okay? And that's kind of the base of the rotunda, but the rotunda sits inside of that. So there's flat roof around the rotunda that was never replaced. The roof that we put on in '99 is still there. So whoever re-roofed the roof did not re-roof that.
Right.
And that's where I'm thinking, because it's right over where Judge Durant's courtroom is, and it's right over the hallway where we've got some major, where it's leaking. And so it looks like the moisture's going behind that and behind either that vinyl or metal that's hanging, that was put on the sides of the rotunda. It's hanging down. So that's where the moisture, and Judge Durant's the one that pointed out, he thought that's where it's coming from too. So it's been re-roofed. This roof, if you look at it, should have been replaced probably 4 or 5 years ago. And we wouldn't have this moisture damage. But, I mean, that's hindsight. And the good thing is we've got an application here that may go 30 or 40 year warranty on the thing, with some newer materials and upgraded technology.
And just a reference for you, Van Zandt County, we just finished that in March, whenever they elected a 40-year option. It's almost the exact same thing that's you guys have had there. And then the one thing that we've brought up is we're not suggesting re-roof the entire building. Your standing seam metal on what I call your architectural accent walls, those are good. The very top of your rotunda, that's in good condition from what we've seen. So we don't suggest doing any of that. We just suggest focusing on the metal wall panels that they're the old style, so they're fastened through. And so that everywhere those screws are, water gets in them. And then we suggest a low slope modified section, which is just completely, it's completely past its line. So that's what we suggest. It's not the entire roof. We looked at everything we could, and those are the areas we determined that are the most necessary.
And Judge and Commissioners, I'm going to use Van Zandt County as one of the good reasons why we are recommending to go with Omnia and Garland right now. Your roof and your roofing warranty is only as good as your company and also your roofer that puts on your roof. Van Zandt County, through the purchasing co-op, has Garland, and Garland stands behind their actual installers. So it's really a multi-layer warranty. On the jail at Van Zandt County, when that was replaced, the weather tightness warranty was by the roofing contractor. That roofing contractor, even though that is only a 3-year-old roof, that roofing contractor during the COVID times went out of business. So now they have a manufacturer's warranty that basically the manufacturer says, sure, we'll warrant our product. But as far as the installation and somebody come back, no, we're not gonna pay for the labor portion of that. So they are stuck now because of it wasn't a package deal as what is being proposed here through the co-op.
But y'all put one on the courthouse in Van Zandt?
Yeah, so
They
then
did-
3 years later, their courthouse just had major issues. And so we went in there and said the same thing, what kind of options are you looking for? Laid out the same kind of proposal, and they said, we went ahead and actually we bid out, which is what we're suggesting here. We bid out the 30 and the 40. So we wrote a specification for both, and said, here's the 30 or 40, and then Commissioner's Court was able to say, no, this fits our budget or this doesn't. Most of your 30 to 40 is very close because your 40 is how you finish the roof. All the steps almost between then and are the same. So kind of the finishing, you get your really bang for your buck at that next 10 years because there's very little difference. But so we went ahead and bid them both out. They had the option. They went ahead and selected the 40-year option. And so it's not up to the contractor. If that building ever leaks, if they have any issues whatsoever, they call directly to me.
And how long has Garland been in business?
Garland's been in business 1895. So originally from Cleveland, Ohio, petroleum-based company. We put hundreds of millions of square feet of roofing down at this point. So we work predominantly with county schools and hospitals because your buildings are not going anywhere. They need to be well protected.
So actually what we're approving today is the proposed fee. And then
Yes.
we're gonna get a AIA B101 contract
Yes, sir.
back to us
Yes,
if
sir.
that's approved today.
Yes, sir. That, what we do is that we take the approval from today and then all the terms. The AIA contract is really a standard form contract that is edited, and both Allison Bass, Bickerstaff's office, everybody has sort of looked over these contracts over the years. We really use their edits
And that's
to bring back to the.
Allison Bass McGee is one. I have correspondence from before on an architect that the court chose before I took office on another project. And that's the contract that they suggested was the AIA B101. So,
I have to remember that McGee too.
yeah, it was Allison Bass and Associates.
For a long time, so.
It's McGee now, actually.
Sorry?
It's McGee now, actually. They're, Nelson Bad's just there. They help out, but.
They're like us, they're getting old.
Yes, sir.
Mom and
You're older than I am.
I just agreed with you.
So do you want to go over the fee schedule
Yes, sir.
that's listed in the letter that the commissioners have?
What we have proposed here.
We've got a long agenda, so
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to move us along.
Yes, sir. What we have here is that on the re-roofing itself, and we know what that actual scope is to do that on a fixed fee of $32,000 for the architectural portion of that. And then the remainder of the fees will be based on 8% of the actual cost of construction. Judge, I don't know how far you want me to go with that, all the commissioners can read through here, but. But that does include the architectural work on any of these other projects, that would include, any mechanical or electrical engineers, that we would bring those all in under ours. When we get into the underground and have to get into any piping or anything, civil work, civil utilities work, or outside the building, we would bring that under ours too. So again, that's all would be under that percentage-based fee until we can convert that to fixed.
The main project to start off with is get the roof on.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's where that's a fixed fee right now, of the $32,000 on our part.
Okay. And then on the 8%, it says cost of construction to be converted to a fixed fee once the budget is determined.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
And I will tell you that 32,000 is not on a 8% because right now we don't foresee that we'd have any engineers or anything, MEP engineers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, too much in that. So we have reduced that down to try to get this expedited as much as possible. I think that's really based more, probably closer to a 4.5% to 5% fee, if you calculated that out on a percentage basis.
That's just projections of what you think the roof will cost, for the 5% probably close, yes.
Yes.
Do you have, considering projects you've done in the past, do you have any roundabout idea what kind of money we might be talking about to repair the roof generally like you're talking
Yeah,
about?
those should be on, page 4 or 5, there's 20, 30, and 40 year option. Obviously, we're the kind of the long-term planning, usually we set stuff, 12, 18, 24 months away. This project's gonna be faster. Obviously, I know if we can do better than that and we bid it out, we can, but those are roughly, that's why I suggest always bid out the 2 options, the closest that you think you can get to, and then wherever the numbers fall labor-wise. I suggest try to get this project secured and start in September. And the reason I say that is roofing contractors, they're always so tight. And we are too. It's summer, school work has to be done because you can't be messing with the kids and stuff. So if you set a construction date of a start date of September 1, they're gonna be coming off all contractors are coming off of school jobs, and we're gonna get a better labor number because they wanna just keep their guys working. They don't wanna hit that cold season, we call it.
Right.
So that's what I would suggest. Find the 2 options you like the most, let's bid them out, and let the numbers fall where they fall.
One of the things we're gonna insist on is they don't ever tear off any more than they can put back in that day.
Yes.
Because we wouldn't
Right.
tear the whole roof off.
Not the way it's raining around here.
So what we do is we'll start off with a small section, and they get their learning curve in on that. We're gonna have to have a high lift for this job. So all those things will have to be worked together,
Right.
but we never wanna take off more roof than we put on in that day.
And it's required if there's more than a 30% chance of rain, there's no work that day, it's at the utmost importance. It's always specified out to the contractor doing the roof is this thing cannot leak while we're doing work here. If anything leaks and any damage is incurred, it's into the contract that will be paid on our cost. We take it very seriously, especially on historical buildings.
Any other questions?
I guess by reading this option, the 40-year service is that's the only one where we remove the entire everything, correct?
The 30 and the 40.
Okay. It says repair any wet insulation pre-moisture can and provide a square foot price for repair, on the 30. But you're tearing down to the bottom.
Correct. The
layer
30
on
and
the
40 year numbers there, that might be a typo. Those are full turnkey.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's everything there's no extra fees. We're huge in, there are no such things as change orders.
Okay.
This is the scope of work. Everybody knows what we're doing.
Kind of what you said, I think in my opinion, may be smart to get to the bottom and work your way back up instead of patching, but.
Correct.
What happens with a roof leak? It could be leaking through the roof in one spot.
And it's over there, yeah,
Well,
Got layers there. So
right.
and y'all do have, we know that there's been leaks in several areas. We know that even if we found no insulation at this point, it can, potentially be damage. So then, you're having to make that evaluation as to what, how damaged is it and everything else, and that the amount of trigger work that entails, you're not saving that amount of money as you are on getting a good product to go all the way down to the deck and start back
over.
up. So again, we're looking at, yes, it is, and there's some numbers on there, but I have to agree with Steve. Steve sort of looked at those numbers, I think, a little bit farther out than what we're talking about with the inflation and everything else. I think they're gonna be a little bit south of where that middle number is. There and, you know, try to get that down and keep that competitiveness in there. And so I'm looking a little bit, less than that. But at the same time, I think that that's the best value, that we can look at is to start at that deck and work up.
Right. That I can just throw you out quickly. Van Zandt County's courthouse, your courthouse is roughly 140 squares. Van Zandt County's was roughly like 105 squares. They did the 40-year option, it came in, and that was a full tear off, same thing, 40-year option. That came in at 500,000 roughly.
Right.
Plus or minus a little bit. So just do a comparison, you know, you can think of that number.
Right.
Theirs was an emergency, so that actually, we bid it out and we started within like 3 weeks because they had a huge leak that was causing problems at the court. You know, we had to get it done. So that was that number was up because it had to be a contractor that had to start within like 30 days of getting a signed contract. So that makes your price obviously go up.
Right.
That's what they understood. Right. If we plan September 1, this is your start date, we're gonna get much better. We're actually gonna catch it down and you're gonna get much better numbers. So that would be our suggestion. If you tell somebody you wanted to roof July 5th, whatever, that number would skyrocket because everybody's finishing schoolwork.
Right.
I was thinking June 15th. So, anyway.
That number would.
I just don't want to see any more damage to that third floor, that's what I'm worried about. So,
What
the sooner, go ahead, I'm sorry.
On this 40-year warranty, exactly how does that warranty work? What is covered in this warranty? Let's say 35 years down the road, new commissioner court have an issue over there. How does that?
Go straight to Garland. You'll never have to deal with the contractor who went out of business. The warranty is not from the warranty will never be from the contractor. It's directly to me.
Okay.
And that's what we at Van Zandt County, they said, it was a little more of a unique situation. I said, well, you know, what labor would you like to use? And the judge looked at me and said, you pick them because it ain't coming back on me. I said, fine. So that's fine. So we picked it, you know, that way. It doesn't matter which way we do it, but that's who we are. That's who we work. It's always on me. They had after we finished the roof, they had a plumbing leak and they thought it was the jail. They thought it was the roof. So they called me up. I was there the next morning. We went through everything and they had a busted pipe. But, you know, you spend a lot of money on a roof.
Right.
You call me, I'll be there.
Right.
That's who we are. It doesn't matter. I'll refer you to a plumber if that's the case. We ended up, they had a wall that was leaking. That's kind of their phase 2 piece, but we went up on the roof. We water tested it out, proved, hey, this is not the roof here. We're always above and beyond for you.
Right.
Well, let's just say in 35 years, they did have a suspected leak, and you come in and identified that problem. What part of the cost is the county gonna incur?
No. So we are a 40-year no-dollar limit, meaning so 30 years from now, let's say that there's a problem, or let's call it 20 years from now.
Yeah,
Okay, so 20 years from now, there's a problem, and you call me and say, hey, I need you to come out and look at this. I go out and look at it. I say, yep, that's a material issue, or it's an issue on my part, even if it's the contractor's fault. It doesn't matter. That's ours. I call up a couple of our contractors and I say, I need a labor number for this, and it's $4,800 plus material to fix this. We just cut them a check and it's fixed. It is a no-dollar limit. It's not on you. Okay. And what's nice about the 40-year no-dollar limit, meaning if there's a $50,000 worth of material there, but in 25 years from now it's $55,000 worth of labor to fix that because costs go up, obviously, that's still on you.
Right.
That's still on us. So. We are big in, let's do it once.
Be done.
Be done. Yes, sir. So.
Any more
I have
questions?
no more.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve DRG Architects' proposal letter with a fixed fee of $32,000 for the re-roofing project and providing design and construction administration services. And they're in their proposal also developing the re-roofing project using cooperative purchasing agreement that actually we already have in place with Omnia, and an 8% cost of construction to be converted to a fixed fee once the budget is determined.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we paid the 32,000, let's just say we went with the 40-year, the 856,000, there's gonna be another cost incurred with that on
No.
a percentage wise?
No, that's
Or is
fixed.
the 32 the,
No, that,
It's just
our
gonna be
part,
hidden.
that's fixed.
okay.
If
So-
they had to go in and
so
work
whether
with the
we're-
plumbers, electrical, or anything they had to design that goes through the roof, or anything that associated with it, that'll be where the 8% comes in. So they're actually at about 4%,
Okay.
on the roofing project, if it come in at the 800,000, like what these projected prices are. So theirs is a fixed rate on the roof.
All right. That answered my question, thank you.
So y'all can make that decision on whether 600, 800, whatever.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You know, it doesn't affect our pricing, or
Yes, sir.
our fee
Yes, sir.
at this point. So-
Yes, sir. 'Cause-
Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain that motion.
I'll put that in form of a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered.
Thank you.
Y'all give me that, AI,
Yes, sir.
that way I can let Allison look over it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Steve, have you got a business card?
Yeah, we'll forward them on.
Okay. All right. I've got one somewhere.
I think I got it.
I can make
No,
a
I still
copy.
got it.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. We can make copies if the commissioners want.
All right. Thank you.
All right, I'll make, if y'all want copies. Thank you, sir. Thank y'all for being here. Okay. All right, item number 9 is consider and take action to designate an assistant IT director and create an assistant IT position, and set salaries and approve related budget amendments. I mean, we went through the proposal about a month and a half ago. We're deploying, IT department's deploying all the computer equipment for the sheriff's department. Correct, Sheriff?
They will be helping out quite a bit as we go with the new program.
Yes, sir. So it's taking some time on task. There's equipment to be deployed back there as long, they've been going through and investigating and trying to find resources for some of the different programs that people are requesting. And they, was Mike was, yeah, okay. But there's just more work on, if we had somebody that can go and take care of, somebody's having a problem, their computer's frozen up, or they've needing a new computer that has to be replaced, all those tasks. If we had somebody to do that, then we could take and have Mike and Tex working more on some of the programs that they outlined when they made that presentation before. And so, I mean, I was trying to wait till budget time, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and they need some assistance back there on trying to deploy some of this stuff. So,
Is this something that we could talk about when we do our budget, our little workshop that we're
Yes,
gonna
sir.
do on our,
You mean the ARPA fund?
On the
setting
ARPA
our
funds.
ARPA funds?
we can. I was just trying to get something going, and since we were talking about ARPA, I decided to put this on.
Right,
I was trying to wait till budget time,
right.
but there's so much that's going on and we were talking about ARPA, so I put it on the agenda. So yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll pass that to the workshop. All right, item number 10 is discuss and consider taking action on courtroom security and possible installation of a secured door to the district courtroom. Judge Davis is here. And I actually, give me just a second, Judge, I've got some pictures so we can, I think my computer is going dormant on me.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Judge.
How are you?
Morning.
You all right?
Doing all right. I just want to say this is the hardest I've seen Mark Staples work in a while. I haven't had a chance to tease him in a while.
It's nice to have friends, ain't it, Mark?
All right, I figured it would be easier to explain what we talked about. I met with Judge Davis the other day over in the courtroom. He asked me to visit with his court reporter, Nancy, and we kind of went over some things. So, of course, this is the courtroom, and you see Nancy's there at the court reporter's desk, sitting here. This is and I'm not, if I can go through this real quick,
Sure,
then
go
we
ahead.
come back, if
Please.
that's all right with you, Judge.
Please help everybody visualize.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, is just give them a picture. So this was installed for a desk for the court reporters, and she and Misty used that. There may be some, and the visiting court reporters. So that was installed to give them a desk. And of course, one of the concerns is this is her machine, and it's pretty expensive, as well as her security. I've got let me hand these pictures out. She brought me a picture, and I didn't get to scan this into the presentation. Judge, here's a copy. I didn't know if she gave you one of these or not.
May I approach?
Yes, sir.
Keep it so.
Here you go. This is one from another courthouse that she just brought kind of as an example of what they had in another courtroom. And not necessarily it had to be exactly like this, but this was a kind of a starting point idea. And she said, even looking at this one, the plexiglass that's up there, it's hard for her to get exhibits when the attorneys are handing her things to be marked as exhibits in the court. So she didn't want anything like that plexiglass, okay? So we were looking in the courtroom to try to make some kind of idea. Now, this is not drawn to scale, okay? So don't fault me here but this is kind of I'm fixing to show you another picture of the court bailiff's bench that was built in, set up in the courtroom. I'm thinking Keith Sessions did that. But so it looks like this. But let me see. Let me go back. Okay. So that it would be a bench or a desk similar to that sitting here, and take this desk out. That way they'd have more room to move around. And we talked about, like the one in the picture, she's got one direction of escape if something starts happening. And of course, the judge had mentioned to me that he has inmates up here that he's taking pleas from or court actions on and motions. So at this point, she has no barrier between her and some of the defendants that are standing there. So this, in looking at this next table, I wanted to kind of give you an idea. So there's enough room. I kind of leaned over this table to see how far somebody could actually just reach. And it would give her a pretty good barrier if she had a desk like this. And if it was open on each end, then she'd have a way to escape either side. And a lot of times, she'll have to approach with the attorneys to talk to the judge around one direction, or she'll have to be kind of turning to hear the witnesses on the other direction. So that was kind of the point of our conversation, is to find out from a safety standpoint what was going to be better. But if we could just build a desk like this, and I could do that out of the repair budget. And she did not want these little slots, okay? So now the next issue was the trying to enter into the district courtroom. The judge was requesting a door across here. And then, of course, those are the swinging doors that's always been there. This is magnetometer that the bailiffs use to, when people are passing into the courtroom, make sure they don't have a weapon or something. But it's kind of taking up the hallway there a little bit. Now, you know, I'd mentioned to the judge, one of the things that I wanted to probably have to visit with the sheriff, and maybe, in some of this, we may need to go into closed session in another meeting to talk about a little bit, because some of these security items don't need to be discussed in open court. But one of the things was making sure we got access into the courtroom, because it is a public trial. And the other thing with a door, I don't know about as far as fire and life safety. This is a fire escape along with the other end of the courtroom. The other end of the courtroom, there's one other entrance into it. And then also, if EMS has got to come in there, somebody falls out, sick, heart attack, whatever, then they've got to be able to get down that hallway with a gurney. So those are just some things that I was thinking about. And of course, this is the swinging doors entrance into the courtroom. And that was, so if you can get the last one. So at least we got a visual.
Yes, we got a visual. And again, I want to thank everybody this morning, Judge McKinney and commissioners. I want to begin by going off script just for a moment. I do want to recognize our auditor. We just renewed her term, unanimous with the district judges. And if they said for me to tell you, if she gives you any trouble, you just let us know, and we'll put her back on probation. But we're very proud of her. She's doing a great job. I wanted to commend her for all the work in the county.
Thank you.
Now, I also want to say and thank you for all the work you've worked and all the help you've given us at the courthouse before. Whenever we've had a need, you've always been there for us, and we really appreciate that. Some of you recall this is some issues that we were discussing last year around the annual security meetings that we're required to have by law. We had our last one in December, and Sheriff, I'm probably going to schedule the other one in August to get Judge McKinney a part of that as well and get him up to speed on some of the issues. Incrementally, what we're trying to do is increase and enhance the security in the courtroom. Just a little bit as we go along. With this, the court reporter's area, I think it kind of speaks for itself. This is something that Nancy has made a presentation about before. I think it's necessary for her security down there. In that well of the courtroom, this is where the inmates are, the TDCJ inmates when they come in, even the free world people that are there. It is not uncommon for there to be fights. It is not uncommon when we're remanding people into custody for there to be negative reactions. I do think that will help at least give her some cover if she was to make a fast departure, if anything was to go down there, and also to protect her equipment as well. Now, also, in turning to the door issue that's there is not a way, without getting into too much detail, because I agree with Judge McKinney, it would need to be a closed session. There's not a foolproof way to secure 100% that district courtroom. At the end of the day, or even during a trial when we've got exhibits and files and attorneys to spread their stuff out in there and their equipment and technology as well, there's not a 100% way to lock that room down. I'm not going to go into detail about if other people were to have access and if they were to try to put things in that courtroom to use at a later time. But suffice it to say, I think it's a genuine need that's there. We've discussed it before. What we envision is a wall there with a door with a secure key code that's identical to the adjacent hallway, which leads to our private offices with that identical key code. I'll leave that up to a security meeting on this, what's the best way to set that up, and I defer to that. But we can have the door open to allow access, to scan people as they're coming in, like I said, to enhance the security in that room itself. The back sides of that room of the district courtroom are secured under key code now. I don't think there's anything that's really needed on the back side of it or from the jury area. I think we've done a great job with that. I do want to commend Sheriff Flores and his team as well, providing us good security when we are there in the courtroom as well. We do appreciate that. But this is something I feel that is necessary. Like I said, to secure that courtroom, I think that it would be a wise and prudent investment. And I think there's going to be other issues we'll be able to identify and work on in the months and years to come with that to get this just a little bit more secure than what it is right now. And I'll take any questions if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask.
We pretty much had passed that once, last year about putting that door in there. And that door, the way I understood it, to have the key code to go in, but still accessible to come out, without having to, So, now you got the double doors. If there was an emergency to get out, they're having to come through. Now it would be that plus the one entry door, we're talking about security. Which
Right.
we had some contractors look at it and got some bids, just never did act on it, so. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as what we talked about before.
Correct. And again, the district judges, on behalf of all of us, we greatly appreciate all of your help and cooperation that we've had over the years. We do feel that this is necessary for security. There's some of the things we're talking about to present in the future, but I think this year, these would be the two major items that we would really like to see. And I thank you. Any other questions?
No, sir, I just know that we had, talked about it because like these courtroom doors here, they're open, but they can be locked. Those two swinging doors are just the old historical style, and there's nothing there. And y'all were talking about for the safety, if the courtroom needs to be locked down or anything, there would be a way at the desk up there or the bailiffs could, and no one else could enter or come in and go out until everything was safe and secure, and then they could pass through. So I think that's the main reason why we approved it. And I mean, so, I echo what you said on it. I think it is a safety measure. That's why we had done it last year. It just needs to be put in progress, I guess.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't have a problem with, Nancy wanted to talk to Misty, make sure, the other court report, make sure she was okay with what we had looked at. But, I mean, that's not even gonna do any construction except for building a desk and setting it in there.
Right.
Did that look okay to you?
It looks great.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea, Judge.
Well, that way it could be moved if you had to move it for some other function.
Correct.
If you were doing an oath of office, or you needed more room in the courtroom for whatever, it could be moved over a little bit or whatever.
And it allows them also to face outward to watch as well versus their backs to
To
what's
the
going on.
yes, sir.
Or the side view, which is what you get a lot of times, and that's another benefit with that as well.
She thought that was a good fix, but she wanted to talk to Misty because she's gonna be using that same space too.
Correct, and they got their own ways of doing things, like
Yes.
I was telling you, I'm smart enough to stay out of that, you just let the court
Me too.
decide what they need, and we just show up and we sign off on it. So,
So we need to authorize to go out for bids on the door and the redoing of the desk. Is that correct?
Well,
He was gonna do it.
I mean, on the desk, I can get that done.
Okay.
That's not, I mean, that's.
So just
like
the
a
door,
maintenance problem.
and then to bring it back to see
Now
how
that
we'll
we've
go about
approved the
paying for it.
opioid funds, I've got some maintenance and repair budget.
Is there gonna be enough in there to do the door? Do we need to bring it back to?
Well, I think, like the judge said, we were gonna talk about maybe in a closed session or at a security meeting to try to talk about the door a little bit.
sure, we can,
I
get
just
that-
think we need to have some discussions to do some measurement and make sure that, you know, if somebody's on jury duty and they fall out with a heart attack, I wanna make sure that we can get a gurney down in the hallway
Right.
and things like that.
I mean, the standard
it was
door is
a large
36 inches. I mean, we can
Not a
put
small.
a 36-inch passage in there, meets the ADA, requirements, and it'll get a gurney down through there, so that shouldn't be a problem with that.
Sure, we can get started, we can
But
have the
that's a
security,
maintenance issue too, I mean,
we can have the security meeting with the contractors even, I mean, that's something that we could do to get it going and make sure we're all good to go there. I just wanna make sure that it's identified as a significant need for that courtroom, without going into further detail in an open meeting about it.
Yes, sir.
Can we have some more discussions with the sheriff before we act on it? Just maybe put it on a special workshop deal.
We can do
I
that.
mean,
We can put it on this workshop that we're gonna have for the,
But he wants to maybe have a closed session on that.
we can go in closed
That's
session.
fine. We'll get doing it this week, next week.
if we need to, I mean, I hadn't had a chance to go over there and do any measurement or anything else. So it'd be similar to the door y'all got going into your offices, essentially is what you're suggesting.
Yes.
Well, I think there's two ways you could approach it, moving forward in both ways. We could, theoretically, if you so see it, you could put it out for bid and it would be identical to what we've got in the adjacent hallway, but then we can also have the meeting simultaneously if there's any changes, modifications, or things we want to see before it's approved at that
And it
final
wouldn't be that much that we'd have to bid it, we can get some quotes.
Sure.
So if that's the case, we get to have a little more discussion, we can bring some quotes back to the next meeting.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you, I
It's a
appreciate your
great
time.
idea. Thanks.
Thank
Mark.
you. Thank you,
Appreciate
Judge.
you.
Item number 11, consider and take action on quotes for vehicle radios and handheld radios for constables in precincts 1, 2, 3, and 4. We previously had this on the agenda. It's the same, I think everybody's got copies of the quotes for the radios for each of their vehicles and each of their handhelds. It's $32.80 for the handhelds and $19.60 for the
January 1, if we could accelerate that a little bit, we're gonna need 2 digital radios to go to the radio room at the office, for dispatch. We're planning on trying to buy that from existing funds by that time, and try to fund those a little bit earlier, we can go to that system faster.
And I think that even now, the city has gone digital on a bunch of this, right? So we're already out of, connection with them, so that was just kind of a concern I think our constables were having. So I think it's a great idea to do it. I don't know how you are thinking about paying for it. I have no problem with ARPA paying for it.
That's what I say. I don't
Yes, sir.
have a
I
problem
think
with
it's
that.
gonna be something that's really gonna add to the protection for the people.
Sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve purchase of digital radios from Nowcom Communications with a quote of $8,232.80 for handheld radios and $15,019.60 for the automobile radios for each of the precinct constables out of ARPA funds. Entertain that motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. That was much of a tie there. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, so ordered. Item number 12, consider to take action on a preliminary plat for Sleepy Hollow 2 located on FM 320. Commissioner Hill.
Yes, sir, we have a plat, from Mr. Kerry Crum, who's gonna be speaking on that.
Okay.
They've got everything up to snuff on the first part of their, plat. I think this is gonna be for the 6 trailer houses, correct? Right.
Thank you, sir.
While he's handing that out, I wanted to, while we're talking about plats, I had talked to Christina about, possibly put it on our agenda, because I was unaware of requiring in our subdivision rules and regulations to amend it to, require those that are planning subdivisions to, have to put private road signs in their subdivisions. And she actually pointed out to me and found that we already have that in our subdivision rules and regulations. And we've had some interaction on that, so I thought we might answer that question while we were talking about these plats. And I think anybody that was gonna have roads in their subdivisions is already aware of that. So I'll let y'all address it if you have roads or not, but. Okay.
Yeah, we do have one private road in the
Judge, Commissioner, my name's Kerry Crum, and I'm representing Landmark, Clyde Crum, and Hollow subdivision. This subdivision is west of the loop on 320 before you get to 420 on the south side of the road. It's going to consist of 6 lots, and there is one access on 320. The rest of the access will be on a private road that's already in existence.
I think it's, Jared's here, y'all gone through the process of reviewing all the.
Yes, sir. Christina and I went through it Friday, or Thursday, and then gave it to Kathy and everything that we could see from as of right now is in order.
Okay.
I do believe you will have a private road. I don't know if that is already signed or not, but that will be the only thing. And going back to what you're saying, I don't know if we need to do anything, that private road, or just put a sign.
It already has an.
It already has a number
Yes, sir.
designation by 911.
Just doesn't have a sign. I mean, we'd have to figure out what the sign requirements are to put a sign in, but we don't have one now.
Okay, and that rule, I believe, allows the commissioner to make sure that's in compliance with the standards that the road bridge requires.
It just never has been there since we purchased the
So
property.
Commissioner Hill
I can get with
can
you.
get with you.
Show
Just
you
need to
what
make
we
sure.
need.
One of the issues we're dealing with is, one is making sure that private roads for emergency
Right,
services,
911.
response for
Sure.
911, sheriff,
Sure.
any of the law enforcement or EMS or fire, okay? Commissioner, you've had a chance to review.
Yes,
the
sir.
plats?
Yes, sir.
Everything?
I think everything's in order to move on to the
Okay,
next step.
and the fees have been paid already?
Yes, sir. I believe you have a.
Yes, sir, I've got a
the
copy.
receipt there.
Did you get a copy, Mark, of the receipts?
I probably have them, but I don't have them.
All right, we'll put it in the minutes. I'll give you my copy, okay? All right. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Sleepy Hollow 2 located on FM 320. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 13 is consider and take action on preliminary plat for Stone Ridge subdivision located on FM 1892. I believe Donna and Billy Freeman are here with that one.
With that, I wanted to give y'all these.
Thank you.
I don't know who all's supposed to get one, but.
Thank you.
Thank you. You need one more?
Here, you don't need one.
Okay, and here's a little bit of change since we've been working with TxDOT. These are the original preliminary plats, if anybody needs to see the original plat. I have it if you need it.
Okay. Is it something we need to sign off on to go into the minute? Okay, all right.
This is a change that was made, and what these are is, lots, or tracks, they're not lots. And since we've been working with TxDOT, trying to get approval of the driveways in, I'll go over that in just a second. But anyway, the name of this, subdivision is gonna be Stone Ridge. We're located east of Frankston, about 3 miles. And, about 3 miles east of Frankston, quarter of a mile off of 175. And if you're standing at the dam on Lake Palestine, we're catty-cornered, not even a quarter of a mile. So this land has been dedicated by our son Todd Freeman for the purpose of the subdivision. And what we're hoping to do is have a nice neighborhood come in. We've restricted these tracts of land, hopefully to have nice homes. We didn't put values on it, but we did put sizes of the houses and what they're going to be constructed of. We've restricted the land. If you have 3 acres or more, you can have a cow, horse, something like that. But we felt like if it was less than 3 acres, it wasn't fair to the animal. So we did that. And you should have a copy of the restrictions that we're proposing in your packet. Okay, let's see. Let me get ahead of myself here. Okay, so we've got it dedicated, and that has been filed at the courthouse. Okay. Give me some eyeballs here. But there is a locator map in your packet that shows where we are in case, and I'm sure y'all are all familiar with that area, but we're right off of 175.
That curve is where that curve takes you on down to the dam, correct?
It does, and this is, I kind of call it a one-way in, one-way out, because it just kind of dead ends down there at the dam. There is a private road next to us that belongs to the upper Neches River people.
That goes down to their park, or?
It goes down to a park, and actually there's a little road that if we don't have a lot of water running over the dam, people can go across the little street and access that other side back there. But it is it's a private road. And as far as the flood zone, we are in the X zone, which means if our zone floods, you better have an arc built to get in, because it's one of the last places that will flood if anybody floods. So there's a map in there showing you from FEMA where the flood zones are around our area. Like I said earlier, we've been dealing with TxDOT on the driveways, and what they have done, because this is a farm-to-market road, the speed limit is 45, which later on I'm hoping to start addressing that with TxDOT because of the subdivision coming in. Maybe since it's the only part, they told me that 1892 only exists right there. And when I talked to the gentleman that came out from TxDOT, he said that changing that speed limit was above his pay grade, but he said there's people that we can talk to that since that's becoming a residential area, that we could probably talk to somebody in that area. But because it is existing at 45 miles an hour, the driveways have to be 350 feet apart from center to center. So tracks 1 and 2 are going to have a shared driveway. 3 and 4 is going to have a shared driveway. 5 and 6 can have an individual driveway. But there's one issue down here with a water culvert that we may be looking at to have 6 and 7 share a driveway. And then the others, 8, 9, and 10 are going to have shared driveways. And because of them having shared driveways, we put a restriction in there that the houses have to be at least 50 feet off of the fence line on the front, so not to interfere with their neighbors' ability to get in and out. So with that, so
where-
tech,
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay.
And who's bringing you water? Cause y'all put right up to the, water reservoir, correct?
Well,
District
Frankston
connection.
Water is gonna be supplying it, and there's, I've already contacted them. They've already acknowledged that they can supply water for this subdivision. And what they're doing, they have a new well that they're fixing to tap into, and it will come online in, hopefully October 1st. And he says that they'll have enough water to supply anybody that wants to come to Frankston. And so, but October 1st, it sounds like it's a long way away, but I thought June 12th was a long time away, and here we are. But the land is not even for sale yet, so this is gonna be like long time. And we don't know, and they have approved up to 10 water meters, because there's potentially 10 lots. But since it's tracts of land, it may be the situation where somebody may come in and buy 2 tracts so that they can have 10 acres to do what they want to, which would take it down to 1 water meter instead of 2. But they have approved up to 10 water meters.
Yes, sir.
We paid our fees to Mr. Staples. And one of the issues that we wanted to address was the sewage. Since we're so close to the lake, we're restricting the homes to aerobic systems only. That way there could not be an issue with any type of overflowing or whatever, that being that close. And that way we're just trying to eliminate problems. So we restricted it to that.
So all that's indeed restricted?
It will be as soon as y'all approve my my restrictions.
Okay, all right.
It'll be filed.
Okay.
And actually, that's what we have. We've had both systems, and we really like the aerobic system because it is just so much easier to take care of, and when you have an issue, they're easier to deal with. Okay, and the electric provider is going to be Encore with the poles, and each person will be responsible for choosing their own. I guess it's basically a billing system. But Encore's already come out. They gave us the letter stating that they can supply the electric out there. And on that sheet that I gave you, the secondary one, we have designated power, an easement for the power. We were not aware that your neighbor could keep you from getting power off his pole. We just have never had that situation happen. Anywhere we've ever built, power was available and you just kind of connect on to the poles that are there. But we had a situation where someone's power pole was right there and they said they didn't have to give us access to the power. So in order to alleviate anybody not letting their neighbor have power, we are designating the easement on this property, and that's what the yellow line is on that sheet there. We just don't want people playing with people's lives. And actually, the lady from Encore told me that somebody had built a house, and there was 3 neighbors, one behind, one on either side, and all 3 of them denied them the ability to connect to the power grid. Didn't know that was possible. So anyway, we tried to alleviate that. We are not putting in any private roads. All of these tracts of land face 1892. When those tracts of land get purchased, each person will be responsible for putting in their own septic system, which is through the guidelines, their own driveways, which will be through the guidelines of TxDOT, and their power, which will be available. We'll make sure it's available. No common areas, none of that. So it's basically tracts of land that's being sold that face off on 1892. All right. Okay, got Encore. I got the tax certificate that y'all wanted showing that there's no taxes owed on, no back taxes owed on the property. Does anybody have a question?
No, I'm going through it, and I think you got a lot of good restrictions in here that should help it stay up.
Well,
Clean
on the
neighborhood.
restrictions, what we did, we've lived in a couple of HOAs that just drove me insane. So, we viewed a lot of the restrictions that some of the other subdivisions have, and we tried to take the common sense, approach on that, on what's user-friendly, and, you know, we're just trying to make it protecting other people's properties. You don't want a motorcycle shop coming in next to you if you've built a $400,000 house. But at the same time, we want people to have the same rights, just friendlier and more common sense. We are in the country. You know, somebody says, oh, are you going to let them have a barbed wire fence? I said, absolutely. Oh, I said, if you got a cow, you have to have a barbed wire fence. You know, so there's just got to be some common sense put there.
I think everything looks good. Ms. Kathy said that everything checked out, to continue on.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Stone Ridge subdivision located on FM 1892. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. He beat you to the punch that time. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate all your work.
Thank you.
Item number 14, consider to take action on approving reimbursement Tucker Volunteer Fire Department amount of $4,407.48 for repairs to the tanker engine and for a winch install to be paid with ARPA funds. I believe that's going to be still part of their portion of the ARPA funds, correct?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 15, consider and take action on the annual contract between Anderson County and the following: East Texas Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, Frankston Depot Library, and the Frankston Museum. All of those have filed their financial statements. And I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Consider to take action on authorizing the county auditor to request bids for financing on 7 Holt Cat motor graders. Ms. Lambert.
All the loans are due, I believe, in July or August, through Shelby, and all the commissioners want to refinance or get another loan with a, can't get it out today.
Lending Institute.
Yes, now I'm stuck.
We want to finance the remaining balance and pay them out.
Yes. Yes, so this would be, getting, bids from other banks to see what the interest rates are, and then the court could go forward with refinancing.
Refinance all of them in each one of because some of us have
For the
two, some
remaining
have one,
balance.
some have.
Yes, for the
Yes, sir.
remainder balance.
Yeah. Remaining balance of each precinct for what they've got.
Well, when it comes back, then y'all can decide on how you want to do it. You don't have to decide that right now. This would be just the percent of financing.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to authorize county auditor to request bids for financing on 7 Holt Cat motor graders for the remaining balances of each precinct. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 17, consider and take action on purchasing a laptop for the district attorney's office in the amount of $936.43 from capital outlay.
Typically, this item wouldn't be brought before the court because it's not over $1,000, but a portion of the laptop is going to be paid with VOCA grant funds, but it's, the grant will not pay for all of it. So that's why I was bringing it to the court to approve the $936.43. The grant has already approved the other part of the,
Remaining balance.
yes, the remaining balance.
I'll entertain a motion to approve purchasing the laptop for the district attorney's office for $936.43 from capital outlay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Let me ask, we had a budget amendment, I think, earlier that put some in capital outlay to take care of.
Yes, it was the budget amendments that were approved in
Okay, I
the
just
consent
wanted to
agenda.
make sure.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, who was it made the motion?
You can give it to Joey and I'll second.
All right. Commissioner Hill, made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 18, consider to take action on a contract agreement with Debt Book Software for tracking debt, leases, and subscriptions in compliance with GASB requirements for the annual financial report and approved budget amendment number 63. Maybe.
This is a new GASB that came out that we are required to track our leases and subscriptions and through our annual financial statements. And so this is a software that I'm needing to purchase to be able to do that. Patilla Brown and Hill actually referred DebtBook to us, and I've talked to them. I sent the contract to the district attorney. She approved a form.
What's the cost of that?
$13,700, and 5,000 of it is going to come from my budget that I have additional.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract agreement with Debt Book Software for tracking debt, leases, and subscriptions in compliance with GASB requirements for the annual financial report and approved budget amendment number 63. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 19, consider to take action to accept the Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership Program grant award and adopt a budget. The grant requires matching funds of $78,0736. Also approve additional vest purchase of $9,933.78 due to price increase and additional vests needed from current sheriff's office budgeted funds and approve budget amendment number 64. Sheriff?
That one sounds rather complicated, but it's
Well,
not.
Well, do you want me to
or
start?
Or if Megan wants to address it.
This was a application that the court approved, I believe, in '21
Yes.
to get bulletproof vests for the sheriff's office. The original grant is $7,807.36, and then there's a match of the same $78,0736. And then the sheriff's office wants to buy additional vests, and the prices have gone up since '21. So everything will be coming from their budget. And if you look at the budget amendment, it lays it out. The grant revenue, $78,07, plus the transfer from other funds, which will be from the sheriff's office of $17,741, which is the matching funds plus the additional purchase.
Okay.
How was that?
That was good. I thought you did.
I can't talk on the other ones, but I can talk on that one. Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. All right, item number 20, consider to take action on awarding a bid for modernization and restoration of the agriculture building elevator. Ms. Lambright.
Okay, so this was passed last court. I believe you have the elevator bids in your packet. I also attached the email that Allison sent back of reviewing them. And I mean, I'll just read it. The TK elevator, she said there's significant differences in each bid. TK elevator, the bid requires the purchaser, the county, to provide materials and labor. The additional cost is to the county is unknown and can result in tremendous increase in total cost. Capital elevator, just like the TK bid, capital requires the county to purchase and provide materials and labor to complete the elevator work. Additionally, unlike the other two bids, this bid is a LULA elevator, limited use, limited application elevator. The bid requests are for modernization and restoration of pre-1970 hydraulic elevator. It is unknown if the LULA is qualified under the bid terms. Otis elevator, the bid is comprehensive and does not require additional materials or labor by the county. That's it.
So what's the thinking of the court?
Did you have a copy of that I could
It should be in your packet.
It's
Probably
right
in
here,
there.
sir, if you need to read.
It's right on the front of it.
Yeah, it should be at the
okay.
beginning of all the.
It's a one pager. It's an email, I think. Did you get it?
Well, I probably do, but.
There's one. That's all right.
Yeah, because I didn't.
Here,
I tried to
Yeah,
keep
what in here?
stuff together myself.
all right, now let me
Thank
look.
you.
Okay, let's see, which one's which? I don't even know. Okay,
So they're saying the first two don't, what their price are is not what it is, and I don't know why that is, you know, whether they put it in there.
well, could
Well,
we
it's just
find out?
how they bid.
I mean, is
Yeah,
there any way
I
to,
just say we need to pass on
what
this.
is they,
and
what are
get
they
it just-
missing?
There's a list in each of the bids.
Well, that was what I said last court, was me reading it, there was a additional cost to the county that were unknown.
There was a whole list in each of the bids. in
Except for
reviewing
Otis.
them Of what the county was gonna be responsible for, that they were not gonna be responsible for. And there was one that even had a longer list, I think, is it Capital had a longer list
Yes.
than TK. And
But they're saying there's
the one
hidden
that,
costs.
the one that Capital bid is a Lula, it's not a regular elevator.
What is
That's a
that?
lift,
Oh, okay.
okay? And that's why it's called a Lula, cause I actually talked to, I asked Bobby Manning, the inspector, and he said, I only know of two in this whole region. And it's to make ADA compliance with a bank building over at St. Augustine and one in Nacogdoches. And it's just so they can get a wheelchair to the next floor,
Gotcha.
basically. But it's not replacing, it's not going in and doing the repairs like, it's actually putting something above ground in that elevator shaft, is my understanding. And it's like, it'll move like 30 feet, I think it says in there 30 feet, or I pulled it up online to look at it, it said like 30 feet per minute. So it, essentially, you're not even gonna know you're moving when you start, when you push the button.
I think it's actually 40 foot, but it's gonna cut the other one out and then replace it. It goes into the place of the other.
Oh,
I
okay.
checked it out.
And that's from Capital Elevator?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But, I mean, the only other option we'd have at this point is to take and look at the repairs of the one that exists in there. That is doable without just replacing. Could replace the components and the pump and put the brake on. That wasn't on.
TK's, are you talking about with TK?
No, with any of them, whoever was on, I don't
The
know.
only one that was
Comprehensive.
doing everything where we didn't have any responsibility was Otis. That's the only one.
And they're gonna be completely replacing though.
They're gonna replace it and warranty it, yes. They're gonna go in there and completely repair that elevator to bring it to.
Completely replace.
It will be turnkey when it is
In other
not
words,
repaired.
given to the
It won't be
county.
replacing the new one,
it's,
right?
it's not 100% because some of it, the car can be used. But they're replacing the hydraulics, electrical, putting the fire safety in, everything that we put in the bid package. In other words, everything that they were supposed to bid, Otis bid. The other two companies had a long list of unknown costs that we were gonna be responsible for. And so, I'd just like to get them back operational because Ag Extension is in a bind.
So they've been in that one for a while.
But, I mean, it's our building and they expect us to maintain it for them.
I'd like to pass on it again and give us to put it on the next court and give time to look back at some other options.
I'm not for doing that. I mean, either we're gonna fix it or do something with the building.
We're gonna fix it, and we're gonna do something with the building. We've done a lot with the building now, really impressive.
Otis has gone up with,
They actually
Otis has gone up on the bid again. I don't really wanna go back out for bids.
I think they went from, 260 some odd down to 252, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's 259. It went up to 262.
It went up.
Went up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they went up $3,000 or $4,000. We could have gotten it for 259 last time. Okay, let's cut through the chase. This building was purchased, and I don't care. I'm not worried about responsibility. The building was purchased, and there's problems with it, and it turns out it was not the best purchase that the Commissioners Court thought it was. And so, let's get past that. I mean, the bathrooms are not ADA compliant. There's some other things that have to be done. We got there's no sprinkler system downstairs that I know of. And there's no other fire escape out of that place. If you got 30, 40 people down there in that training room, they can't get out. So we're gonna have to deal with that too. There's a lot of problems with this building. I think hindsight, it might have been a different option instead of buying the building, but we have it. Either we're gonna fix it, or we're gonna do something else for the Ag Extension Office and build them something else, or move them to the Civic Center. So we need to have a plan. We can't just sit here and say. And the thing is if we fix the elevator, we can sell the thing and probably recoup our cost if we wanna move them to the Civic Center. But we can't just sit here and say, and just say we're not gonna fix it. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I don't think anybody said we're not gonna fix it. I think could be other options. We could even take some of the land that's there and build another upground building that's, adjacent to that building for the $250,000 or $60,000 and build them a meeting room. That is a possibility. And cut the bottom floor off of it.
Yeah, I'm like you, I think there's other options in the 262,000. And personally, I don't think this Commissioner Court made a mistake by buying that building, because we did remove the agriculture people from the building they were in, which was having many issues with. It was not handicap appliance whatsoever.
There was a $500,000 spent on, that don't even belong to us.
I don't feel that was a fair statement. This court made a mistake. We didn't make a mistake. It's just this court right now is not willing to pay $262,000 to fix an elevator, that there could possibly be another way to resolve this issue. And right this minute, we're just not sure what it is. And that's my opinion.
Well, the Ag Extension have been pushed around, like I said, having to borrow and beg for space. They were put into the federal building that we don't own, that we spent that large amount of money on, that has never supplied them with any kind of, resources that they need. So they're closer now than it was before, and what we need to decide now, whether if we want to build an upstairs, another building that would be adjacent to that. It's nearly 2 acres of land there, which has plenty of parking that wouldn't really address any of the parking, because there's a large grassy area there, which could have an awning to walk across and shut the bottom down as far as it goes. And we wouldn't need to deal with the sprinkler systems or anything, or the escape system. And what we were offered when we was looking at this, we had the 5 acres that was offered by the business park from Palestine, which was at ground floor covered with trees. So, to start all over would have cost.
That would be a new building.
That would have been a brand new building and a whole lot more money.
But I wasn't here then.
Absolutely. So that was a choice we made, is to take this route.
And that wasn't a criticism of the court, don't take it.
I'm sorry, I took
That's
it.
the way it took.
That wasn't what I'm saying.
Exactly the way it went.
There's issues that the court wasn't aware of, is what I'm saying.
Judge, we did think we looked into issues, and it was explained to us then that the elevator could be brought up to, to pass the deal by putting brakes and stuff on it. yes, it was not explained to us, it could be $262,000, and that's not even replacing the car, but it was, we did do checking into it, and that was the only issue, at the time was the elevator, and like I say, we're just not aware that it costs this much to replace it. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, for what we use that bottom floor for,
They
is
can
for
come
the
over here.
meetings.
Meetings and bathrooms.
They can come over here.
We can
Shut it off.
I think
Because
that's
they're excited about what they've got over there as far as access. In the federal building, they were overrun with rats and varmints and bats and everything else in the world, so, it was just really a nasty place. And it had no ADA, compliance, given anything. That's where they were. So the upstairs bathroom does meet the requirements. It needs the handrails and stuff in it. The door systems all meet it. We put the,
Hang on just a second.
pedestal sink in there.
I've already been over there. It doesn't have any handrails.
It doesn't have the
He
handrails.
just
That's
said,
what I just said.
he just said
I'm
it
sorry.
needs handrails added.
I'm sorry, I
is what he said.
misunderstood.
Does not have the handrails, and it had gotten to that point, and that's as far as that we had gotten with it, but we got the, the building in really, really good shape for them. They got all the, blinds now in place that, Judge worked on getting. They've got the new signs, and they've got the awnings that work with all the, that's one thing they was really excited about with having the awnings for, their car seat program.
Well, I believe right now we're at, what do we do about this? What's presented to us today about this elevator?
I'm sorry, sir. What'd you say?
I said, I guess where we're at right now is, what do we need to do about this agenda item, what we're presented with about this elevator today? What action do we take on that?
Well, I think the next agenda item should be, at this time, to consider if we're gonna keep that bottom floor, in use or not. That's correct. That's correct. If we're gonna go this route, we just need to, can that bottom floor and not use it. I think the top floor does make good offices. I think the, county at the time needed a little more space, and I know, the county still needs space. I hear everybody talk about this annex, it's filled to capacity, and we may need to move an office out of here that houses another part of the annex that has stuff in there, and I don't know what we need to do with that. I know there's other state offices would like to be here in our annex, but also in the same sense, I keep hearing talk about the Civic Center, and I thought when the county had actually engaged in it, what it boils down to is different courts had different plans, and I know now we have a different court again. It's not to say to get on anybody's agenda, but what's best needed or suited for the people is what we need to look at. We don't need to look at it as if, oh, this court did this, and I don't like this, I'm not for that, or this court is doing this now, and I don't think we can come together on this. I think we do need to sit down and have some building workshops, all five of us. Therefore, we can all get together on the same accord and have a plan for the use of these two existing buildings that now the county owns. We don't need to just say, hey, we got these buildings, let's get rid of them, let's dump this, do that, one or two people, or another one over here say, I'm gonna fight, we're gonna get this building going. No, we need to come together in a collaborative effort, find the best suited plan for those buildings, and then if we need to say, hey, let's get rid of one, we can consolidate to this one. We need to come out with a plan. We need to let, as people say, show the people what we're gonna do with these buildings, and not just fight behind the scenes and then come to court and have a showdown on these buildings, and we're still not getting nothing accomplished. I think that's what we're doing, and it's no disrespect to anybody on the court, but it's childish. We need to be men, we need to represent people the way we're supposed to, and we need to get it done for the people in a proper fashion. And I'm sorry if I said anybody's toes.
No, you're fine. Okay.
I'd suggested and talked about.
Yes, sir.
Trying to do something with the Civic Center, and I just talked about it again. Maybe we need to sell this building.
Yes, sir.
That might be beneficial to the court.
I think we can
Have a
agree.
different plan.
We can agree if we all sit down here and talk, have us a workshop. We can have a workshop right out there. And let's just get it done and let's make a decision. If we need to dump one, we dump one. If we need to go to work on it, we need to go to work on it.
This decision.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
So what do y'all wanna do on that elevator? Pass on?
Yes, sir.
Pass, if we could get together like Commissioner Mims suggested, and discuss these buildings, and let's get a
These are
game
the options,
plan on
yeah.
where we're headed.
We can look at our cost of where we're at with it. We started out with a $165,000 base and see where we're at with it now and see with the footage and, you know, where it's at and decide on, move forward with it or
That'd
relocate.
be great with me.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Move forward with it or relocate. Yes, sir.
So we'll pass on item number 20 right now.
But I would say when we have our workshop, that we're gonna work on this funding that you were talking about, let's put it included in there.
Well, how much time we got on the bid? I'm just asking.
How long will this bid good for?
Is the bid good for 30 days, 60 days?
Yeah.
30?
And, I mean, and it's been 3 weeks since the last court, so, I
Right.
mean, we're probably right at 30 days.
We can get that. I mean, workshop just need a 72-hour notice, as we stated in the
Well,
earlier.
I've still got to check my court calendar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. We can figure out a day though. All right, so let's pass item number 20, go to item number 21, consider and take action to authorize the county treasurer to go out for bank depository bids. Ms. Holiday.
Good morning.
Morning.
Our bank depository with Prosperity Bank is getting close to expiring, and I just need the court to approve me going out for bid for new bank depository.
Any questions of the treasurer?
I have none.
I'll entertain a motion to authorize the county treasurer to go out for bank depository bids. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 22 is here, presentation from the tax assessor collector regarding moving forward with a contract agreement for outsourcing the 2023 tax abatement, tax statements, printing and mailings, and take action as necessary and approve budget amendment number 62.
Good morning. Mine's not going to be difficult, I promise. I would like to go out, excuse me, I would like to have the 2023 tax statements outsourced. This will save the money, I mean the county money, if nothing else but in postage. I think y'all all have a schedule. Our postage right now is 60 cents for 1 ounce. The Master's Touch, who I got a bid from or quote from, and then SPM Documents, I got a quote from them too. Master's Touch is 47 cents, and the other one is 49 cents compared to our 60 cents. So you can see there how money would be saved.
So last year you spent 25,669?
Pretty much,
Wow.
yes.
I mean, that doesn't even count like overtime and.
Yes.
No.
For the
Yeah.
hands to do it and
This will
everything.
save money. They're professional at what they do. This is what they do. They get their paper in bulk. They save money there. They save money in envelopes. They, you know, I mean,
Yes,
they don't have to maintain their little folding machines and their, you know, what we have to do. And it's going to be it'll be a lot better.
It's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Right. And these estimates that I did here, I kind of compared apples to apples with what I think. I mean, you don't know how many statements are going to have one statement, or how many envelopes are going to have one statement versus 5 statements in them, or 10, or whatever. But so I just did the 30,000 for each, and that's what I came up with. So I've got a contract from Master's Touch, who I would like to use. They're not the cheapest. They're like $1,000 or $1,500 more. But the other company there's a lot of unknowns there, and I don't trust their figures. The Master's Touch, there's a lot of counties that use them. I think they have like 25 different counties, appraisal districts, school districts, or whatever in the state of Texas. But they're all over United States. So they're a good company. I feel I had a lot of good recommendations, and have a contract with them. And if y'all would, I would have Allison go over the contract before, and before the decision is made, and then present this contract to y'all, hopefully next Commissioners Court.
Marcy, do the schools pass anything on our mail outs? I forget, you explained.
That's in the fee that that they're $1 a parcel is what they pay.
We charge them very minimal.
Minimal, yes.
We're mandated.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, that's
You
what
can't go no higher.
I just remember something about that, that's what I was asking.
Yes.
So you're recommending today that we not accept the lowest bid, but accept Master's Touch because you would understand that SPM may have some undisclosed charges that could be associated
Yes.
with that bid that would make it higher than
Yes.
the Master Touch bid.
Yes. Plus, I like the Master's Choice work. I mean, their tax statements look really good.
So they're
They're not
credible.
pink anymore, but,
They're more
or
credible.
won't be, but
You're
but
telling the
they're
court
gonna be
more
look good.
But you don't have a contract from Master's Touch right now, correct?
I do have one now, but I haven't, Allison hasn't looked
She
at it.
hadn't looked at it. So what you're asking the court to do is just approve moving forward.
Yes.
And then
And
after
then approve the contract once she looks at it.
Correct.
So could we approve today if it's passed by the district attorney?
Why can't we just wait till we get the contract back approved to form from Allison?
That's fine.
I mean, it's not gonna make anything,
Yeah, it's not-
she's not holding up for that.
That's fine.
Right.
So we can do it all at one time.
Because she didn't have it, Margie asked us to put this on, so we didn't, as far as I know, we didn't have a contract, you were still looking at it.
That's correct.
Okay.
But I do have one now. We went to conference last week, and I talked with them, and they got me one.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to, allow the tax assessor collector to move forward with obtaining a contract agreement for outsourcing the 2023 tax statements, printing and mailings, and have a contract reviewed by the district attorney, Allison Mitchell. But we can approve budget amendment number 62.
Yes.
So the funding is there. I'll entertain that motion.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Thank you.
Well, one
Thanks,
second,
Mark.
do we need to include, Megan, who she's gonna seek that contract from? In the motion?
What?
Did
I'm
she-
sorry.
Do we need to amend our motion to include who we're gonna seek that contract from? Cause we didn't state who it is.
She's gonna resubmit it to us and then we're
Yeah,
gonna accept
it's gonna be another agenda item next
Well,
quarter.
she'll just bring the contract back. And
Yes,
after Allison reviews it, we'll just, that way we can approve the contract.
Okay, yes, sir.
Item number 23, consider and take action on land use agreement for Precinct 2 Road and Bridge Department with Ben Baker on Anderson County Road 2405. Commissioner Mims?
Yes, sir, it's the same land use agreement we've been using for the past, I would say, almost 10+ years. And, only thing different is this time, we've been paying $3 a yard forever. And so now, we'll go up to, $4 a yard. And that's what it'll cost for us to purchase the sand and remove it off his property.
Did you have any closure?
Yes, I actually got it, I'm about to bring it back.
Okay.
So, it's got my signature and, Mr. Baker. What happened is, Mr. Baker's actually old. He recently lost his, wife, and, she would normally take care of all his paperwork. He sent it back and he didn't actually sign it. So we sent it back to him to re-sign it. He just said, I'm okay with it, wrote a little note on the side. I'm okay with it, thank you, Mims. And sent it back to me, but he didn't, cause he lives in Dallas, the Metroplex. And, so we got another one sent back to him so he can give us the one with the signature on it, so that the court could have it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, once it's signed, we follow it.
Yes, sir.
It's approved.
Yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the land use agreement for Precinct 2 Road and Bridge with Ben Baker on County Road 2405.
So moved.
All right, motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do it. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Number 24, consider and take action on the interlocal cooperation contract to be entered into by Anderson County Department of State Health Services to provide access to the Department of State Health Services vital event electronic registration system for the purpose of issuing individual birth certificates for the county clerk's office. Mr. State.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. So this item looks familiar because last court the court passed this. However, when I sent in the paperwork that went along with that, the state informed me that the data use agreement that they sent in April was an incorrect data use agreement. So I put it back before the court after talking with the auditor and conferring with her that this document needs to go back to court. There's nothing to sign, but it is different from the one that originally was passed to court. Any questions?
Thank you.
So essentially, for the motion, it would be an updated contract?
The data use agreements is different than what went through court.
Okay.
But there's no signature page.
Okay, so for verbiage, how do I need to state this for the minute order on what we're agreeing to?
Maybe updated data use agreement.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Updated
Updated.
Interlocal cooperation contract and data use agreement, how's that?
Yes, sir. That works, Judge.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the interlocal cooperation contract and updated data use agreement with the Department of State Health Services to provide access to Vital Event electronic registration system for the purpose of issuing individual birth certificates for the county clerk's office. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Item number 25, consider take action on authorizing the county judge and county sheriff to sign the state plan of operation between the state of Texas and the Anderson County Sheriff's Office for excess personal property and equipment. The sheriff sent me this, and when the administrators changed, and he had to do an updated form with his signature when he took office. There was, I think y'all have some things that you got off of that agreement.
These,
Some firearms, maybe ammunition, things like that.
yes, things like that, that were already in existence here when I took office.
Okay, so we just need to update the agreement. The last one we found was actually went through court was in like 2010. So I thought it would be appropriate with both yours and my signature, we put a new one in there. So that way we'd have it in the clerk's records. So I'll entertain a motion to approve, authorize the county judge and county sheriff to sign the state plan of operation agreement between the state of Texas and Anderson County Sheriff's Office for excess personal property and equipment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Thanks, Sheriff. And then item number 26, consider take action on approving replacement copier for Anderson County Jail to be paid from capital outlay.
This is one of two copiers that were purchased, I believe, in 2016. The records copier is in great shape. The one in the jail that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, it's reached the end of its lifespan. As the judge probably knows, and any of the judges that go in to do magistrations or other things at the jail, it's broken down more often than it's not, and it's just costing us efficiency in our operations. We had to steal the records room copier, move it back there in order to provide it to the judges, and then make other amends. So it's finally time to replace this copier.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the replacement of
A lady by the name of Nanette Smith, she brought it to me and she told me, she said they were having this issue with it. Well, Eric McGee called me back and told me, he said that they had answered all the questions, made everything available to them. So
that's it.
That everything was.
So that was somebody with Quasar?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's, one of the owners of Quasar.
I was curious when it was put on to hear from me.
Well, because I thought that you had known, and I didn't know if you could bring that up to bring us up to speed with where y'all were at with it, with their retrieval of that. She said that they didn't have access to it. Well, Eric McGee cleared that up, said, yes, they do. He said that we've answered all the letters back, everything's ready to go. All they have to do is make the contacts and do it. And I said, well, I didn't know if the county judge could bring us up to speed. He said, actually, he has not been working on it. I have been working on it, and I've got it all worked out for you. And I'll send you, I email you a copy of the letters, and that's what he did. And they did go along with the letter that she asked me about. So I just pass on that one because that's been resolved.
Well, everything that we've done is worked through our attorneys.
Exactly.
I'm not having any conversations with anybody outside our council.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right, item number 28, so, I'm not making a presentation on that one.
On which one?
I'm not making a
No,
presentation.
absolutely
on
not.
number
It's not
26.
necessary.
27, I'm working through our attorneys. Item number 28, consider and take action on road and bridge department uniforms, used uniform. Commissioner Jacobs.
Okay, we decided back some time ago to start buying our uniforms instead of leasing them, and we saved a lot of money. I don't know exactly how much, if it was thousands or where we're at. We were paying by the week, and now that we've been buying by, the year, and these guys are wearing this stuff, some of them over a year. But mine are elbows knocked out, knees knocked out, greasy, and, they do belong to the county, so I'm just wanting to see what the court's pleasure would be, whether if we can destroy the clothes, just have them thrown away. Goodwill is probably not gonna take them because they have their standards. So, and then the only other choice we have is to auction them off or just, and that's just something I wanted to bring before the
Well,
court. see what they
Commissioner, one of the problems we'd have is our Anderson County sewed into the material, so.
That's right.
There's no way to remove it, it's not a pack, so basically the only way to get rid of the stuff is to destroy it, because you basically destroy it trying to move the insignia that we have stenciled on it, so. But the stuff that I've had returned to
I
me
agree.
is basically useless. There's nothing to it.
Well, I was spending approximately $7,000 a year.
You can't get Anderson County off of it, we sure don't.
That's what I'm
Somebody
saying.
running around with that on.
That's the reason we had it put on there, and like I said, they would be a rag company might buy them, I don't think so. We just need to get clarified what we can do with, keep from storing them, if we can destroy them or what, because we're definitely saving money with them, there's no doubt about that.
Mine was 158 a week, it's about 73 to 7,400 a year, and I spent 2,400, I think, approximately the first year. My guys wore them for a year, so I saved somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000. But and it's worked good. They've washed their own clothes, and nobody has a problem with it. But I just now I'm to the point. It's been long enough. I'm starting to get these bags of.
Yeah, you need direction on what to do.
Well, we just
for
need to
disposal.
destroy them, I would think.
Yes, sir.
Can we do that, Megan, that we
As long as as
are
long as you.
responsible for destroying them after we get them?
I mean, if that's what you want, like, are you saying from now on or just
Yes,
these?
from, as we receive them in, because right now I'm storing mine. And like I say, there's nothing nobody can do with them, so I would dispose of them as they're brought to me to keep from having to keep up with them.
As long as that's, I think that's okay, as long as the court approves that.
I think
If that's
the court can approve
deal.
that. There just needs to be probably a memo or something sent to the auditor's office.
Okay.
So
Maybe
that
every
they're
time you
aware.
do it.
Yeah, what we destroy.
Right?
Yeah, maybe
Would
every
that
time
work?
I believe it, that's the way it's supposed to, we're supposed to keep track of, things we destroy. Just
Okay.
so, but if the court, if
work?
y'all approve
No, that
to
sounds
destroy
good
them
to
every
me.
time and just let us know when you do it, I have no problem with that.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve, all 4 road and bridge departments. Well, let's see, what about the shop and all that?
Well, see, the
Rashad
shoppers would have
the same.
different. I mean, we're
They
the only
do
two that are
their,
different.
okay.
Rashad doesn't
Yes.
have his name.
And then recently, you just changed the shop. And I was gonna ask you about that.
But the shops was what got it
You
started.
changed the shop
I
to
didn't.
maintenance. They're getting their uniforms with someone different.
Okay, I didn't do that.
Okay.
They may have done it, but I didn't do it.
Okay, well, I thought, because it just happened.
Now, if the
first
bill
edition.
came through, I approved it because it's coming from the
Yes.
general fund,
Yes, sir.
but I didn't make the change.
Okay, because
So it
both
may
of
have been
us was
somebody's
doing the
shop.
other company after we had got them lowered.
Okay, but
So now we
they're
got two
leasing
different-
theirs,
They're leasing theirs,
So
and we're
we-
leasing ours.
so we don't have to worry about that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so we just need to do it for 1, 3, and 4 then?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve, road, bridge department?
Well, I'd like you to include two though, just in case I may go to their program.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
gonna relook at it.
1, 2, 3, and 4, precinct, road and bridge, to be able to destroy their uniforms and send a document showing the destruction to the county auditor's office. I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, so ordered.
Yeah, what's the definition of destroy? Can we throw them away in the dumpsters?
Burn. I'd say put them in burn barrel.
Burn.
Okay, we'll burn 'em.
Well, there's not a burn ban. Have a screen over it. Okay. Item number 29 here from IT Director, discuss IT's future plans moving forward. Commissioner Chapin, you put that on the agenda.
Yes, sir. I'd ask around, I don't know what we're doing. So I didn't know what our plans were as far as, what our choices or what we decided to do.
For the,
For the future plans for the IT period, I think that's across the court. Just anybody like to know are we gonna outsource any more help, or are we going back into the hardware business? What is our plans? I don't know.
well, okay, so, just basically, I picked up from where we stood before we had, where we had it 2 years ago, just picked up and gone out to, we got hardware in place. That part's done. Then the next future plans is to make sure that we get through the projects that we have. And then, of course,
And those were outlined when.
yeah, and those were outlined when we went through.
At least some of them were.
And then the help that we can get from outside individuals, if there's something that we just don't have the expertise on, we're still looking at different companies for that, but we do have several that we've been in talks with. I know Tex and I have been on the phone pretty much in the last 2 weeks with I want to say it's about 10 different agencies and 10 different companies that can do different things, because we had the DR solution. We actually had gotten a quote for the DR solution that we were talking about, and actually that came in a lot more cost effective than what we were thinking it was going to originally be.
You're still waiting on 2 more, right?
Yeah, we're still waiting on 2 more to come in. You want me to share that number?
No, not right now, not until we get all the quotes.
Right, okay, all right. But that actually is looking a lot better than what we were. We've also got just mainly the reason why we were looking for getting another person in here is just putting boots to the ground, because, we've got, Sheriff can attest to this, we've got more and more that have been coming up in the sheriff's office, and to actually have a person to get through those projects, because, that's, what was it, 24? Yes. 24 devices that are going to go in the cars, and we're building out those. We actually are going to have, we're just going to line them up, start work, get them all running, get them up to what we need. And then we've also still got the desktops that we're replacing as needed. Well, actually, that was a project that we were just trying to get through. The paperless project, where we're trying to make sure that we get with all the entities that are needed.
You went to Henderson County with the sheriff's office.
Yeah, right.
About changing the Encode.
Yeah, Encode's going to be.
Navigator to Encode?
They will be shifting the administration and records, correct, off, and dispatch will be moving also to Encode. So that way.
And that way you can do is use UCR reports.
UCR reports.
And we can be in compliance with the grant that we asked for an extension on.
Correct.
Okay.
So if there's any other specifics you want to know about?
I just didn't know do you have any kind of projections on how extensive it's going to get getting into the hardware business? If that's what I'm understanding we're doing, we're going to keep going And I don't know what's absent as far as, with the demands of whether we have a sand or whether we've had, whatever it takes to meet that. What are we up against? I mean, I know we bought some servers the other day. We bought
The servers were the servers replacement makes us totally to where we are up to date on the hardware. We wouldn't have to look at hardware again, possibly for, we've been scoping everything out for at least 7 years. So we
Wasn't all
wouldn't
that
have
in
to
the
look.
presentation that Tex did?
Yes,
ago?
correct. That was all part and parcel of, we were trying to find numbers for 7 years and beyond. And that's what we the hardware that we purchased will last us 7 years at least, if not more. I mean, because, I mean.
Are we
if
to that limit now? We've bought it up to that point now?
Yeah.
Or is there more coming?
No, well, I've got the blades on order, but that's the only part.
Now, what about
That was approved by the court.
Right.
What have we done for securing our information outside of the county for security purposes? What have we decided on that? Yeah.
Are you talking about the DR solution? And
Yes.
we're still waiting on 2 more bids. So far, we don't have, all the numbers in for that yet.
We actually, they've been trying to figure out, even, I think Commissioner Dixon asked about looking at maybe even partnering with another county, so they were trying to do that through somebody that, in IT that they knew. And so far, nobody's been in a position to want to try to, have a backup storage on their facility.
Yeah, we haven't had.
But that's what Tex was talking about on the disaster recovery, or what Mike mentioned earlier, is they've gotten a quote which is much smaller than, in price than what we had in the past. But there's still, and we don't want to talk about money because of still waiting on the other 2 quotes that they put out for.
Right.
For our disaster recovery. But from a hardware standpoint, we bought hardware.
One, I'll give you, with the sheriff's office, the Net Motion server was supposed to be a physical server. We actually are going to be able to ingest that and save roughly around, I think each one of the servers was right around, I want to say it was like $6,000 each. But we're going to be able to ingest that into the data center. So it's going to save some money.
So, but we will have our data stored in-house at the county.
Right now.
Different locations,
yeah.
but also an off-site, just in case these locations crash.
Correct. And that's the DR solution that we're looking at, that will have our housing, that we'll be able to pick where that's going to be. And that storage solution will be with a company that will be able to, we even talked to one of them that actually, it's encrypted in flight. I'm sorry, encrypted here and encrypted there. So they don't even have the access to our information, even if they wanted to.
But in case the Anderson County completely goes down, like.
We would be able to have it, yes.
We can retrieve those encrypted documents. Y'all can decipher and put us back on what we need online, every office, and work and carry on as we need to.
And currently we have one here and one at another location. So that way those 2 locations are not on one physical place. So, and we can even, in security, we can talk about that.
Okay. Well, maybe, Judge, maybe when we have our workshop, we can bring them in too. We go through some things. Anything else need to be looked at or going on, make sure everything's okay.
The main thing is the staffing, but if we get into security issues, we probably need to go in closed session on that.
Yes, sir.
But,
yes, sir.
I mean, the staffing is it's kind of like, if you got trees down like y'all had in the last few days and you're out at all hours of the night, at some point, everybody gets exhausted. You got to be able to have the manpower to go take care of all the daily issues so you can work on some of the programs that people are requesting.
Yes, sir.
So if my architects are freed up to do some of that, and we had somebody to deal with the hardware issues at the sheriff's office or the clerk's office or my office or emergency management, or with Kathy's computer, if she needs an update on there or she's having problems, somebody's got to go address that. And so that's why I brought that to the court as far as staffing, because even in 2011, y'all talked about at least some more staffing back then in the minutes. But anyway, we can put that in the workshop and we can talk about it, okay?
All right. Good.
Anything else from mine?
No, sir, thank you.
My concern was just the off-site, and you're working on that, so once we figure out what that's gonna cost, you gotta think.
Yeah, we had, I think with our original numbers were at 102,000, but we're not there. We're not at that point. We're way below that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep
I
working
think
on
you're
it.
gonna like the cost effectiveness. And everything we're trying to do is within budget.
Right.
So, all right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate what y'all do.
Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, man, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Mills, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by
Second.
Commissioner Dixon, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank y'all. Oh, we need to sign the minutes.
Oh.
Before y'all get out.
We done signed them?
Y'all got yours.
You're talking child.